Few families in American history have left a mark as powerful, and as controversial, as the Dulles family. Brothers John Foster Dulles and Allen Dulles held the reins of American diplomacy and intelligence during the Cold War, steering the United States into interventions and regime changes across the globe. But their story begins generations earlier, rooted in a family legacy that helped shape America's role in world affairs. Before their rise in government, both brothers had established careers shaped by strategic influence. John Foster Dulles joined the prominent law firm Sullivan and Cromwell, where he represented American corporate interests abroad. His work in international law set the stage for his later role as Secretary of State, where he prioritized U.S. dominance in post-World War II geopolitics. Allen Dulles, meanwhile, began a career in intelligence, working for the precursor to the CIA during World War II. By the late 1940s, he was positioned to lead covert operations around the world. After World War II, John Foster and Allen Dulles took on unprecedented roles under President Eisenhower. John Foster became Secretary of State, tasked with securing U.S. influence over Western Europe to counter Soviet power. His influence in establishing NATO ensured that Western Europe aligned with American interests. Simultaneously, Allen Dulles, now head of the CIA, oversaw covert operations aimed at destabilizing Soviet influence in Eastern Europe, crafting a Cold War strategy that favored aggressive intervention. While John Foster managed American diplomacy, Allen Dulles was carving a path through the CIA, and through Central America. Before his government work, Allen served as a board member for the United Fruit Company, which dominated Guatemala's economy and relied on U.S. intervention to protect its interests. When Guatemalan President Jacobo Árbenz proposed reforms threatening United Fruit Company profits, Allen saw a clear solution: a CIA-led coup. Working alongside his brother, Allen framed Árbenz reforms as a communist threat. In 1954, the CIA successfully overthrew Árbenz, ensuring United Fruit Company retained its hold on the region. This intervention was more than just a coup, it set a precedent for CIA-led actions to protect corporate interests. United Fruit Company role in Allen's career further underscores the blurred line between government operations and corporate power, a line the Dulles brothers crossed with alarming ease. Guatemala wasn't the Dulles brothers' only target. In Iran, Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh's nationalization of oil assets conflicted with U.S. interests, leading Allen to orchestrate a CIA-backed coup in 1953 that ousted Mossadegh. In the Congo, Patrice Lumumba faced a similar fate, his nationalist policies clashing with Western interests. Allen's CIA executed covert operations to install pro-American leaders, spreading a pattern of intervention across the developing world. The Dulles brothers stepped down in the early 1960s, but their influence on U.S. foreign policy remains both astonishing and unsettling. Though John Foster briefly held a Senate seat for New York, he and Allen operated with virtually unchecked power as Secretary of State and CIA Director, two unelected, unaccountable positions through which they reshaped the world. Together, they championed a version of American imperialism where sovereign nations could be toppled or subdued, not by force of arms, but through covert coups and economic coercion. From Iran to Guatemala, they transformed countries into puppet states, bending them to fit the interests of American corporations like the United Fruit Company. Their legacy laid the blueprint for a new kind of empire, one constructed in boardrooms and backrooms, with national security often meaning economic dominance. As we look at the ripple effects today, an unnerving question emerges: how much of what we see as independent global order is, in reality, a landscape still scarred by the Dulles playbook, a hidden hand that continues to shape the fate of nations in the shadows?